Shout out to everybody. This is Lawrence D. Adams. This is when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. Shout out to everyone that's here. Shout out to everyone that's here. If you missed Friday night's lineup, I didn't drop something. Friday night with Warren B and myself, it was amazing. Great thing. I mean, let me put the, I don't know if I got the flyer still up, but let's see what we got here. Yep, there we go. If you missed Friday nights with me and Warren B, it was actually really good. We dropped some science right there. Shout out to Warren B, PimpGod, Pimp Dizzy. Shout out to him. You missed that. It was actually a good show. But we were definitely next Friday coming up, November 4th, we will be doing a webinar. We'll be doing a webinar, Man Frame, how to maintain a masculine aura, part 2, November 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Webinar is $25. So you definitely want to be a part of that. Warren B and LDA will be in the house. We'll be doing it's simply you getting $1,000 worth of game for $25. You can't beat that, and it's going to be crazy. So you definitely want to make sure you tune in on next. If you need the link to get your spot, you need to let me know. I put it's all on my community tab, or you need to DM me, get your spot so you can reserve your spot, because spots are limited to be a part of the Man Frame, how to maintain a masculine aura, part 2, November 4th, 8 p.m. And there's a webinar with me and Warren B. If you missed last Friday, you missed a whole lot where we actually did our thing. Shout out to, let me get this straight. Let me get this straight right here. This is out of order. Let's see here. Right there. If you did not get your shirt, make sure you get your shirt. Don't get mad, just leave. Please, when grandfather say, please, don't get mad, just leave. Don't forget to get your t-shirts. Links will be in the bio. Get that. Be a part of this. Well, let's get started with today's conversation. As you can see, I done sort of changed. There we go. Let's get today's conversation going. Shout out to Blackjack. He's here early for class. Shout out to you, brother. Good to see you. Always great conversation when you come in. You always bring that ism when you come. Let me get this banner up 1 second. I'm just trying to look for this banner down. So shout out to everybody. This is like a precursor to what's going to happen on Friday with me and Warren B. So this is like a precursor of what we're going to be talking about. And one of the things I want to get at is the fear of the black, I was saying fear of a black planet, but fear of a masculine planet. That's what I thought about when I seen this. The fear of a masculine planet. And so we're going to talk about that today and want to make sure we do this. We're going to send some, once everybody get in, make sure we get some prayers out to my cousin, Deborah Perry. She's getting in the hospital. Make sure you send some prayers up for her. Shout out to her. Great conversation last night. Shout out to you. I'm going to make sure we get some prayers in for her. So the fear of a masculine planet, as you see in the course of what's been going on and in media, in the manosphere, in the red pill community, this community, that community, you realize there's an undercurrent fear that's there of men or of a masculine planet. Now, people will say that, hey, LDA is already masculine. Men are already running things. But even though men are running things and they're running the infrastructures, they're running the companies and things like that, there's still an undercurrent of the fear of a masculine planet. And the most dominating fear that's there, the ardent fear is this, is that if men ever wake up to who they are, that men will treat women bad. And that's one of the fears that is there, is that if men really understand who they are and understand the power that they possess, they will realize that the fear that they've been having, or the fear the attacks that have been coming against them, were designed so that you never realize that the real planet that you really need to be tapping into is your world. See, I can take it and talk about the world outside social media, cancel culture, and all like that. But it's the fear of a masculine planet. And that what I'm getting at is the fear of your masculine planet. That means you running your world. And I realize a lot of men have grown up in societies in this culture who are afraid of running their world or running their planet. And what happens is they kowtow down, they go along just to get along, but they never tap into the real essence of who they are and realize that they are a planet and they are to have things, situations orbiting them and not them orbiting other people, situations, problems, and everything like that. So I want you to really get this right here. The fear that's there that you see in the society, it's that they're afraid that if you ever wake up to who you are as a man and walk in your masculinity, you will become uncontrollable because you have awakened to your true nature that you are to dominate. You wake up into your true nature that you were designed to dominate. So the fear is not from the outside. The fear that many men and a lot of women are facing is that if a man really wakes up, he will wake up into the dominance of who he is. And not dominance to means that you're dogging somebody, you're putting somebody down. That means you're taking charge of everything around you and you are taking accountability. Most people they fear that part of them because responsibility equals work. Let me say that again. Responsibility equals work. Thank you, Sigma and Nima, right here. Right there. Most men don't know what dominance feel like. Bruh, most men do not know what dominance feel like. You right there, you said a mouthful right there. So the real fear of a masculine planet is that you, as Sigma and Nima said, you don't even know what real dominance feel like. You have not tapped into the essence that you were created to dominate. What's going on, RJ? Good to see you. You were created to dominate. You were created to take over. You were created to take charge. You were created to have the best. The fear that a lot of men have is that if I tap into this, will I lose control or will I hurt someone in the midst of me being my dominant self? So they never tap into what of a masculine planet. And I'm talking about masculine planet. I'm talking about the masculine planet as you. So they sit on the sidelines and wait for somebody to give them permission to be the best version of who they are. Brother, I'm talking to you right now. Whatever fear that you are having, that you cannot tap into your true masculine, and please understand this. This ain't talking about browbeating women. Get over here. You need to do that. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the true essence of your masculinity. This is all the precursor to Friday night's webinar that you need to be a part of. Let me get this. It doesn't help that the laws are being made to support the slaughtering of masculinity. Bruh, you right there. And right. Why do you think they don't want men to tap into? Why do they promote the fear of a masculine planet? And I'm talking about, when I define planet, I'm talking about you as the planet. Why do you think they're fear? Because if I can keep you enslaved, that you are not dominant, that you do not have rulership inside of you, that you do not have direction, that you do not have vision, that you do not have provision, that you don't have leadership, I will lead you around with your nose, from your nose around everywhere. Woo, boy, you're going in. That's what I'm talking about. Or protection, that alienation of equality under the gist of equality. So it's important that men begin to realize that the real fear is starting within. The real fear is within men. They're afraid of it. They have not danced with their masculinity. Many of us as men are afraid to dominate because it comes with sacrifice. The sacrifice is called fear. Fear of being judged, fear of failure, fear of self-accountability. You're right. But the thing of it is, men are, they have never, ever, here and there, they may have tapped into it a little bit. They never tapped into the real essence of their masculinity because they were shamed, guilt, told that it wasn't right, told that you need to play with baby dolls, whatever the case may be, or you need to pipe that down. They were told never to tap into the masculine planet that's inside of them. This does not mean, please don't come in here talking about, oh, these women out here. I don't want to hear no, don't you? Don't come over here crying. Don't come over here crying. Don't want to hear it. But I want you to realize the fear is first within you. Fear, that many people define it, is false evidence appearing real. But the real fear is you tapping into the masculine planet that's inside of you. And let me say this. Once you tap into your masculine essence or masculine planet that's inside of you, we'll deal with the outward part of it Wednesday and then Friday, and then we'll go to the webinar on Friday night. Once you tap into the masculine essence of who you are, and you realize the fear you've been sitting in that fear. How can a woman really walk in her femininity if you're afraid of your masculinity? Uh-oh. I know y'all don't want to hear that. I know. Let me read this. Women are doing what women have always done. Men have recently allowed it. Correct. Men are afraid of their masculinity, and how So what happens is, because you're afraid of your masculine planet, of who you are, what has happened is, how can she even attract to you? And she becomes what? She becomes just like you because she's looking for you. We always say opposites attract. We always say the opposite polarity, the masculine polarity and the feminine polarity. And I know on Warren B, what PimpGod was saying, that the yin and the yang. You need the yin and the yang, but what happens is everyone has grown neutral for fear of their masculinity. Fear that if I tap into this, what would happen to me? What would I do? Would I have to cut someone off? Would I have to deal with things differently? Will I be in the same job? Will I do the same thing that I need to do? What would happen if I really tap into the masculine planet that's inside of me? Women instinctively are real, and they smell a band. You know what? You definitely right about that. So what will happen? What will happen to a man if he really tap into his masculine planet that's inside of him? You know, first thing you have to do is be accountable. And much as we trying to keep women accountable, there's a lot of brothers who ain't accountable for nothing. They're accountable to get game on how to get kitty cat. Show me how to get your kitty cat. But they have not tapped into the masculine part of them. I want you to get the fear is within most men. It is, they're battling the lion that's sitting inside of them because they've been feeding the lamb that's inside of them. Y'all better catch that one right there. Most men have been what? Feeding the lamb that's inside of them, and they have never fed the lion that's dormant inside of them. In this world, in this world today, there will definitely be backlash we're dealing with. Yeah. Let me say that again. Most men have been feeding the what? Yep, life is about balance. Most men have been feeding the lamb that's inside of them. What's going on, Joe Blast? And they have not been feeding the lion inside of them. That's the fear. They're afraid of the wow. They're afraid of the smell of their masculinity. So they have not been feeding their masculinity. They've been starving the lion that's inside of them. His ribs are showing. His stomach is caved in. He's walking in circles because he doesn't have enough energy. And what he tries to do, he's afraid of his masculinity or the fear of a masculine planet because he's been starving the lion that's inside of him. When are you going to feed your masculine self? And I'm not talking about no junk food, no pseudo that you gotta do all of this. It starts within. It starts with your character. It starts what you do when no one is thieving. You've been starving your masculinity. Most men have been starving their masculinity. They came into this world and they have been feeding the lamb. And don't get me wrong. They're like Black Jacket said, they have what? They have life is a balance. But what happened is we got a bunch of lambs that are around here. There's a place to be the lamb and there's a place to be the lion. What have you been feeding lately? And you understand you understand the joy of a lion is to get a wild kill. Now he can be in the zoo and then throw raw meat to him and he'll eat it and chew it up. But it's something that instinctively inside of a lion that he has to go and watch the prey go in front of him so that he can plot. Go by a tree, stoop down, crouch down, so he can go get the kill. Many of you have not tapped into your masculinity because you have not tapped into the gift that's inside of you and you have never made the kill. You've been waiting for people to throw you raw meat to feed your masculinity while you've been sitting over there being a lamb. I'm talking to you, brothers. Your masculinity has been starving. The lamb is for times of peace. If you have not recognized men are under attack, lion time like Thundercat, ho, you got that right, brother. And if we really tap into the dichotomy of this, or the dual nature of this, the man must have the lion and the lamb, and they must sit down together. That seems like an oxymoron for a lion and a lamb to sit down. But what happens is when the lion has been starved, the lamb looks very appetizing. Let me say that again. When the lion has been starved inside of you, the lamb looks very appetizing. You think about lamb chops, you think about lamb, you look with lamb with mint jelly, and you think about lamb with asparagus, you start thinking of all kind of ways. And what if we look with blackjack that says lamb is time for peace, lamb is peace, then we try to inadvertently cause disruptions in our life to disturb our peace so that the lion in us can rise up. So that the lion inside of us can rise up. Many of us are laying in the comfort of our peace, and you need peace. But you need to tap into the lion that's sitting dormant and starving inside of you. That is the fear that men have. What if I feed this lion, and what would he do? The fear of a masculine what? Planet. Blind woman in Chicago was interested with rats. In order to keep them from eating her, she was leaving enough food out for them to fascinate. Wow. See, look at that. Blind woman in Chicago was interested with rats. And in order to keep them from eating her, she leave enough food out for them to infest. I want you to really understand this. Most men they have not fit. They've gone. They thought that at the Shake 'em Up club or at the strip club that their masculinity was going to be fair. I know what I'm talking about. You thought if you get a number of notches on your belt, how many women you done knocked off, that's going to feed your masculinity. You thought if you get all the dating coaching advices and you tune in and then you go across the world, that was going to feed your masculinity. No, brother. No, my brother, that will not feed your masculinity. It will satisfy you for a point. But when you really want to feed your masculinity and tired of people throwing you scraps and cutting your meat up for you like a child, it's when you go out there and you go and dominate yourself and the world. The fear of a masculine planet is really the fear that the lion inside of you will begin to dominate. How many of you men are going to be honest? This is all a precursor to Friday night, and make sure we got Friday night webinar with PimpGod. We'll be talking about man frame, how to maintain a masculine aura. Let me get this up here. Right there, webinar. This is all a precursor to that. So you definitely want to be a part of that. We will be talking more in depth on this subject. So you want to make sure you're a part of that. But I want you to get this. I want you to get this today. I want you to get this today. And I'm not going to be long. All black jackets on it today, man. I'm so glad you're here. In other words, if the lion dies out, in other words, if the lion dies not to get fed, he will eventually eat the sheep. Master leaders. Baby, man, woo! This right here is revelation right there. In other words, if the lion dies and does not get fed, he will eventually eat the sheep. Master leaders. Plain and simple. The reason why a lot of men are eating the sheep that's inside of them or the lamb that's inside of them is because they have never conquered anything. They thought the conquer was to conquer the women. You did that and it didn't satisfy you. You thought by conquering that you mean getting this particular job or conquering this. That didn't do it. In order for the lion to sustain his level, in order for the lion to sustain his territory, his markers that he has to realize he has to get a team, but he also needs to get what? He has to stay a bit satisfied with the kill, but he has to become friends with his hunger. Let me say that again. In order for the lion to sustain in the wild, he must become friends with what causes him pain or what causes him to be hungry, that causes his hunger. He must not despise being hungry. And what happens is a lot of men are so comfortable that they have never became friends with the part of them that makes them hungry for more, to make them hungry to conquer something bigger. So the fear of a masculine planet is the fear that you have not became comfortable. You have not became friends with the part of you that makes you hungry. This true talk. Thank you. So let me say this. Years ago, and this is real talk, and I don't like throwing out names, but I sat at the table with Les Brown, motivational speaker, great guy, excellent guy, always gracious. I remember I went to go hear him speak in Alabama, speaking at Manpower with Bishop Jakes. And he said something in that conference I never forgot. I went with my dad. He said, "You got to be hungry." He said it like that with emphasis. You got to be hungry for more. The fear of the masculine planet is a lot of men have not become hungry. They have not come comfortable with their masculinity. They're not hungry enough. They're too satisfied with chasing this woman, chasing this one, and doing and going here. And they have not become hungry for the best version of themselves. You're too comfortable. Today, right before the show, I rearranged my whole setup. Why did I probably look orange. My lights are probably not right, but I got hungry. I have to have something better. Became hungry because I wanted to take over what I'm doing. As you see, and I'm sitting down. I changed my camera shots. Lights are probably not right, but guess what? I became hungry for something better. In order to deal with this fear of the masculine planet, we got to become hungry for something that's better, something that's even sometimes untangible to the naked eye. We have to become hungry. You have not become hungry enough, and so the fear cripples you, and now you have a neutral planet. One can only become the king lion by studying them, watching their moves, and knowing why they are hungry. Neither are content. Man, that is powerful. You guys are on it today. It's that the lack of maturity. It can come to a lack of maturity. But let me read this comment again, because Yeah, you said men are content. Yeah, they are content. Now I have to be careful that I don't get content. One can only become a king, a lion, by studying them. I like that. Watching their moves and knowing why they are hungry. Neither are content. To be hungry, we must learn to cultivate an appetite for right food. Appetite outstanding, overstanding. Man, to become hungry, we must learn to cultivate an appetite for the right food. What happened is our appetite has been that we're used to people throwing us scraps. We're used to just getting just anything. Oh man, you know, whatever. You'll be all right with them Doritos. You'll be all right with that. We don't have an appetite for better. They dogged out KS for talking about high value. They debated it and did numbers. What do you mean? All he was trying to do was create an appetite in men for something that is better. Hey, y'all don't, man. Your appetite, your appetite is different, you begin to crave something different. You stop looking at the lamb chop inside of you and you start dealing with the lion that's asleep inside of you. This is actually factual on the literal level, starting with what you put in your body first. Many of your appetites are stifled. And you need some IV to get into your bloodstream because your appetite ain't even right. You thought your appetite was trolling, talking about other people. You have not come hungry enough because you're feeding off the wrong food. You're starving the lion inside of you. The fear of a masculine planet is to keep the lion starving and always looking to kill this and always looking to make sure they stay in the sheep state of mind or a lamb state of mind. The fear of a masculine planet is to keep the lion starving so that you keep the men in a what? Sheep, lion, or lamb state of mind. Most men are afraid their appetite hasn't been right, and they're afraid to go out there and actually get their prey. See, y'all, you getting them. Need that hunger like Clubber Lang in Rocky 3. Yes, that's it. So the fear of a masculine planet is to make sure that the lions are always starving. Make sure they're always starving. Make sure they're never fully satisfied, and make sure their appetite is thrown off. A lion is always looking to what he can conquer. What is his domain? He urinates on different trees to let other animals know, if you come in this place, I will get you. He marks his territory from other lions, and he marks his territory for the lioness. Why? So they know this right here belongs to me. But most of you don't have an appetite to take charge of your planet. And so you live in the fear of a masculine planet. Why are you starving the lion in you, but feeding the lamb inside of you? You've been starving the lion inside of you. It's funny because most women respond positively to true masculinity. It shows in their face when they recognize it too. Bruh, You guys, man, y'all gotta pull back because I'm so far gone right now. I didn't change positions. I'm sitting down and I'm talking to you like I'm talking to you. Bears and lions have the largest territories among apex predators. You said, God, dibbity, dibbity, wow, yeah. See, we need to learn. What happens is a lot of men, because of you, and I'm glad you said that, they have the largest territory among apex predators. We have forgot that we are apex predators. And I'm not talking about you going out there and you doing something to somebody. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about your own planet. Don't come up here. LDA he said we need to go out there and rah. No, I ain't saying that, bruh. Pay attention to what we're saying. He said, I would respectfully say that humans do. Yeah, I think that was just an analogy to you was explaining that to give in context of what we're saying in the sense of the lion and in the animal kingdom, which we are animals, but in that particular kingdom, I know exactly what Sigma and Nigma was meaning. So both are correct, but we have stopped being the apex predator. We just want to walk in the grass and be the little lamb and just, oh my God. Don't starve the lion inside of you because you're afraid of a masculine planet. And this, I'm gonna say something that this is real good, and I'm gonna lead to it. It's funny when a woman, because most women respond positively to true masculinity. It shows in their face, and they will recognize it. That's so true. Most women run into the little lamb inside of you. You know, Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Fleece was white as snow. Most women run into the little lamb in men, and she turns into the apex predator. She's looking how I'm going to take you and put sauce on you, and you're going to be some nice lamb chop. What's going on, Lawrence? Good to see you. Let me say that again. Most women do not respect, do not honor the lamb inside of the man. The fear of a masculine planet. But they will straight up get in line for an apex predator or a lion who just looks in her and she just backs on down. It has nothing to do with your words. It has everything to do with what we're going to talk about Friday, the masculine aura. Because the lamb is all that men have been told they could display. Woo! Man, y'all on fire today. Y'all on fire today. You see what he just right here? I'm going to have to close up shop on this. It's because the lamb is all that men have been told they could display. And she's looking at you as lamb chop. I mean, good, tender lamb chop. Whew. Because most men have not dealt with the yin and the yang inside of them of the lion or the lion that's inside of them. They're afraid of it. You can walk in the room with, let me tap it this a little bit. I got to get 5 minutes on this one. You can go in the room and you can see who's the lamb and who's the lion. It's nothing to do with the words. It has everything to do with who you are, your mindset. It has everything to do that you take over the room. Pookie and Ray Ray prove women want masculinity. Even though it's fake masculinity, it is masculinity they can see. Correct. Good tender lamb chop. Women, yeah, they're going to look at you a tender lamb chop. She will look at you and be smothering you down with some mint jelly and say, oh, I got a good one right here. It's because you have not tapped into the lion that's inside of you. Think about it. If it's the fear of a masculine planet, the lamb does not take over the planet. The lamb keeps the peace in the planet, but the lion makes sure there's dominion in the planet. Let me say that again. The lamb makes sure there's peace in your planet, man. But the lion makes sure that you walk in dominion in your planet. Woo. Woo, this good. Fellas, remember, she is a hunter herself. She's just hunting you. Y'all better believe it. Come across some, y'all, do we need to bring her up? I think y'all better forget who you dealing with. What do you think she's going to do right here? What do you think she's going to do to a little lamb? What do you think she's going to do to a lamb? What do you think she's going to do to a little lamb? What do you think this hyena is going to do to a lamb? She would chew it up and spit you out. Women are super competitive about different things than men, correct? So indeed, men in this space who complain about women are really the lambs. A bunch of lambs. Oh, whoa, right here. This right here, I gotta close up shop. Baby. So indeed, the men in this space who complain about women are really the lambs. A bunch of lambs congregating together. That almost need to be posted everywhere. A bunch of what? So indeed, the men in this space who complain about women. I can't take it. They did this to me. Where's my crying face? I'm looking for my crying face. I got to get used to being on this side of it. I can't find it. I don't know where I deal with the crying face. But yeah, that right there. So indeed, the men in this space who complain about women are really the lambs. The fear. Yeah. A bunch of lambs congregating together. Woo, boy. You right there. She will slaughter him. If you don't game up out here as a man, she will devour you. Now, let me say this. I want to make sure we don't want to just, I'm going to make sense. I'm going to say this after I do this. Facts, RJ. Men don't complain about what women do. They don't even let that affect them. Woo. And let me say something the Fear Soul said right here. If you're not gamed up out here as a man, she will devour you. Y'all worried about what she would do with you. The rest of the world would dog you, would treat you, would devour you. Do you understand this? The world cares nothing about your little feelings. It cares not that your mommy didn't give you a binky when you were little. It cares nothing about that. It will devour you and spit you out and have you on the side of the curb talking about singing lamb chop. This is the song that never ends. And it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it and just with it. Y'all too young for that song. Y'all start singing lamb chop. This is the song that never ends. And it goes on and on, my friend. That becomes you. This world will devour you if you don't stand on, if you don't get on all fours and become the lion that's inside of you. The fear of a masculine planet. This is a precursor. Join us on Friday, 8 p.m. You don't want to miss it. PimpGod and myself. You don't want to miss it. You do not want to miss this. Make sure you sign up, hit the link. $25 is a steal. You need to be a part of this. Join me Wednesday as we continue this conversation. Let me read these comments before I roll out. I think a lot of these things are born from school age and where their socks come from. David heard sheep slew a giant. Woo. You said David herded sheep and also slew a giant using principal stones. Come on, you guys. Woo, y'all. He also slew plenty of other beasts. Woo. I gotta run the music back. Don't want to miss Friday, 8 p.m. Special webinar. Be here. You guys are going in. The David principle. The fear of masculine planet. Be out of here. Make sure y'all get prayers up for my cousin, Deborah Perry. Make sure you do prayers up for my cousin, Deborah Perry. Prayers up to her. She's in the hospital. Prayers up to her. Prayers up to William. Prayers up for William, who comes in the chat room. Prayers for him. He's in a major transition to a better what he doing up. Prayers up for my cousin Deborah. Prayers up for William, who comes through. Make sure y'all get the prayers up for these people who are part of the thinking class. My cousin Deborah Perry, she does come in and participate, so shout out to her. Prayers to William, who comes through here. Shout out to everybody. We out of here.